That's
Have you ever done the machete cut of the Lord of the Rings?
I have not.
So this is where you watch like the first part of Fellowship up until when Frodo like finds out about the ring, and then you watch all three Hobbit movies as a
Right.
flashback,
Oh, because
and
that gives you the yeah. You get the
because then you have the
context.
context. Then you
Mm.
go back into Fellowship of the Ring, and then
Yeah.
before you get from Fellowship of the Ring into the Two Towers,
Hmm.
you walk outside and you
Yeah.
jump in front of the fastest going car that you see.
Yeah. Great. And then while you're in the hospital recuperating, you do play the PlayStation 2 game, The
The
Two
video
Towers.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that gives
yeah.
you a lot more background.
It's a
That's
much
yeah.
more immersive version of the story, right?
Do
Yeah.
you know? And this is we've just gone off the to the left field. You know those games, right? Do you recall those games like the
I never played
PlayStation?
them.
Okay.
So I honestly don't know anything about them.
It was like sort of a you pick a different player and you're playing through the Lord of the Rings films, but it was based on an engine. You know what game engine it was based on?
I'm looking at the screenshots and I'm trying to think, but no, tell me.
So it was built on a Tiger Woods PGA Tour game
Oh, oh,
engine.
oh, oh, that fucking rules. So wait. We've got to finish the machete cut, right? So then you play
Yeah,
all of the Two Towers
yeah.
game, right? And
Yeah.
then you watch the original TV broadcasts of all 15 of Tiger Woods' major wins, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
a it is a
Yeah.
curated selection of media clips from the fallout of his cheating scandal and sex
Mm.
addiction and divorce and fall from
Mm.
grace,
Yeah.
right? Then you watch Return of the King,
Yep.
um, and then you watch whatever fucking like Dubai shit he's doing now. I've lost track of him. Isn't he doing some kind of weird like like essentially like sort of like barnstorming like fake golf where they play in like a stadium or
I
something?
I have to assume that is the case.
This
Yeah.
might be slander. This might be like completely made up. I feel like I'm under the impression he's at least dipped his toe into something along those lines.
And that everyone, we're going to be talking about The Hobbit.
You're tall, but I'm standing in front of you.
It's a podcast.
Yeah, so welcome everybody to Your Tall But I'm Staying in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia examine the cultural detritus of the 20th and 21st centuries. I'm Devin,
I'm Ethan.
and I gotta be honest, buddy, I don't care how you're doing because I'm so mad at you.
Oh no.
I'm so mad at you for what you made me watch.
Hey folks, Ethan here from the editing room. I just wanted to play a quick clip from when we were recording the vacation episode, and Devin was talking about our upcoming watch of the Hobbit series, given how he's talking as if this was my fault that we watched the Hobbit. So here's the clip, and you can all decide for yourselves.
I don't believe we committed to the Hobbit trilogy. I mean, we need to. It's so bad, but
I can't wait. It's the kind of thing like we kind of if we say we're the podcast on cultural detritus, we can't be like pussies about watching those, you know?
that's very true. Yep.
All right, so with that context in mind, back to the episode. Sorry for the interruption.
I'm so mad at you for what you made me watch. So
Hmm.
you can tell the listeners about it. I'm protesting the intro.
Well, so I suppose we collectively came up with a series that we would be doing this year. We've got and the first part of that
Summer
series
vacation.
is summer vacation. So that's the theme. And we played around with different films that would fit that theme. And now the listeners will, at this point, have listened to
Vacation.
Vacation. Great start to summer vacation as a theme. Paris, Texas. A little off the wheels in terms of summer vacation theme, or
Really
maybe
about the
perfect.
internal the internal vacation of the,
Yeah,
the American man,
yeah,
which way ye Western man, the movie,
exactly. And what is a vacation if not like you go somewhere, right? I
Hmm.
think let me hold up. Vacation, Webster's
Yeah, what's
dictionary.
the dictionary definition of vacation
I'll
here?
tell you what Merriam-Webster says. It is a period spent away from home or business in travel or recreation.
So here's my question though.
Yeah.
Do you think that Merriam-Webster would say that a vacation is usually expected?
You ever seen those videos of like the worst families you can imagine where the parents like surprise the kids with like we're going to the Star Wars hotel experience
Yeah.
where you
Well, honestly, let's just seize on that right now because great segue to this fucking disaster of a trilogy that
wow.
we watched all three goddamn films of: The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, which
Uh-huh.
honestly, I think the entire decision to do these was just based on that subtitle because it was like, oh yeah, he's kind of going on a journey on a vacation, right?
Sure, sure.
The Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of the Five Armies, right? Because what is that? What is it if not that those videos, right? But it's Gandalf showing up with a bunch of dwarves being like, "Hey, Bilbo, you thought you were just kind of, going through your, frankly, rather leisurely existence, but
Hmm.
instead." You're going on a journey, you're going on a vacation, and it's
Yeah.
even worse than Disney World.
Yeah.
It's
And to be clear, this is the summer of Bilbo's life. So, you know, um
Is it? I guess
so
so, yeah.
yeah, well, you'd think except then he gets the ring and lives super long. But yeah, that's the Hobbit. I think what it had
Endless
been is
Summer. Bilbo Baggins, Endless Summer.
I just it's that because like National Lampoon's Vacation is sort of a patchwork of essentially this is America. These are all of the caricatures that we can play for different geographic locations in America. It's really about just sort of showing that um, those like vignettes, those bits.
Yeah, yeah.
And The Hobbit is sort of like you start at Hobbiton and then you get to like sort of experience these different vignettes of
Hmm.
what Middle Earth is sort of all about. You get the
Yeah,
elves, you get the dwarves, you get the orcs and the spiders, you get the men, um,
yeah.
you get eagles.
I mean, in all seriousness, you are, I think, pointing out that we have unintentionally created an intelligent miniseries in a way. Because this entire idea comes out because, and listen, like we're both sick right now and we have to talk about the Hobbit trilogy. So this may be the episode where, sorry, like the kayfabe is a little transparent, right? But the Odyssey's coming out in the summer, and we're like, oh, we'll do a mini series leading up to the
Yeah.
Odyssey. Can't wait
Hmm.
to finally find out what happens. I hope he gets home.
Yeah.
Um, and we were like, kind of like, oh, it would be funny to kind of call it summer vacation because it'll be coming out in the approach to summer, and we could think of like movies where somebody goes somewhere. It was just kind of like an excuse to bring some movies together. I think
Right.
we unintentionally, by picking movies where someone is going somewhere, have realized that the entire genre of somebody going somewhere in cinema is completely indebted to the actual like epic poem of the Odyssey, which is to say they essentially all have that form, which is like someone going from one place to another, and then that is just sort of like the loose container so that we can have them have a series of episodic adventures, whether that's, funny encounters with your family in a trailer park, or it's serious conversations with the mother of your child whom you abused in a peep show booth, or
Yeah.
whether it's putting a bunch of your friends in some barrels to go on down the river. And I have a lot to say about the barrels when we get to them, by the
Oh,
way.
great.
And it's
Okay.
not good. It's not good.
Okay.
Where do we even start with this monstrosity, right?
Yeah, because
Because
we're
should
not
we
gonna
talk
let's
about Lord of the Rings a little first?
sure. What, like the films, like in leading up
Like the
to,
films,
yeah, like
right?
why do we have a Hobbit trilogy? In when did this start? 2012 for the first one.
Yeah.
It's like why do we have a Hobbit trilogy? What a strange thing that it exists. Devin, why do we have that?
Yeah, well, we have a kind of uh unintentionally good timing with this, right? Because everyone's watching Lord of the Rings right now because it's like the 25th anniversary of the films, right?
Oh, is
And
that
so
why? I thought you believed it was because of a
I thought
tweet
it was
you made.
possibly but that our tweets about it had
Yeah.
caused it, but it turns out it's actually the 25th anniversary. We didn't know it, right?
Okay.
So what's funny is
A little column
I
A, a little column B, maybe. Let's be clear. But go on, go on.
yeah. So after watching the Hobbit movies, which we'll talk about shortly, I
Yeah.
did go back to watch the Lord of the Rings again and actually watch the expanded editions for the first time.
Oh wow.
Partly because Slug likes them a lot,
Yeah.
or as she would say, she likes them a quote normal amount,
Sure.
which is that she watches them once a year, which is
Yeah.
not normal. It's
Eh,
fine, but it's not normal.
I think it's pretty normal, but go on.
If you watch, I just think it's okay to be like, if you watch something once a year, you really like it. You don't need to be
No,
shy about
but
it.
it's but I think it's such a cultural cornerstone. It'd be like you say, like, what, you eat 2 or 3 times a day? That's so often. It's like, well, no, but like that's just what most people do. Like you could eat just one meal a day. There are people who maybe don't eat a meal in a day, but it's a it's a normal amount because that's what most people do. And I think most people, Devin, I think most people probably watch Lord of the Rings about once a year or so, and
Yeah, all right.
we can put this to the test, but that's
Well,
my
they're
that's my
certainly very
defense.
loud about it. That's for sure. But so I rewatched him, and I gotta say,
Better than
maybe it
watching
was just
Harry Potter once a year. Sorry, go on.
certainly better than that. But although I will say, Deathly Hallows Part One, that's a good movie. That's my
Cool.
take. The Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 are
Oh wow.
both really good movies, and I don't care about any other movie in either of those series. But
Okay.
those are the two that I like,
Okay.
which maybe we'll talk about them one day. But because all bets are off after you made me watch 3 Hobbit movies. I could make you do anything I want. Um, so I watched The Lord of the Rings again, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
gotta say, maybe it was partially like, coming from the horrible hobbits. It fucking slapped. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Especially Fellowship. Fellowship, I think, is like kind of a perfect movie for what it is. Like
Okay.
it executes so well. The latter two, they get in a little into the problem of like there's just a lot of battles and like kind of, they're good, they're well done. I don't find them as compelling as like the much more simple scenes with like Boromir at the end of Fellowship, But it's great. It's a great time. It's a great
Yeah.
achievement, right? And then instead of that just being okay, they were like, we've got to make movies about The Hobbit, right?
Yeah.
The book that actually comes first, right?
Yeah.
And that Tolkien writes first.
Well, the plan was always to like do these films, right? Like that was going to
Yeah.
be in fact, like back when Lord of the Rings came out, the whole idea, they actually promised Ian Holm that he would get to play Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit if he came on as Bilbo Baggins in Lord of the Rings. And they
Oh, wow.
sort of, they didn't really do it, but I guess he gets a cameo at the start of the the first one here, but
He does technically play the Hobbit,
yes, but
and it is
it
his
took so
last movie
long.
before he fucking dies.
That's the thing. It took so long for them to make it that by then it's like, well, he can't play he can't play
Yeah.
a young Bilbo Baggins. Anyways,
And there's
yeah,
a lot
go.
of other turmoil that we don't have to rehearse. It's all like out there if you
Yeah,
want to read about it. But
sure.
Guillermo del Toro is supposed to
Yeah.
direct The Hobbit. You know, drama happens. He exits very abruptly, right? And Peter Jackson actually, like, somewhat heroically, is my understanding, steps in because basically, like, all of his folks, like, in New Zealand and shit, were gonna get fired, right? Like, they weren't gonna have a job if these movies weren't made, and they had been about to be made, and then Del Toro exits, and Jackson is like they're like basically like we're not making them unless you do it, right? And so Jackson agrees to come back and do the Hobbits again, right?
Hmm.
Here's the thing. These movies are screwed from the jump, right? Because just what they're doing is it's just inherently wrong, right? Which is taking the Peter Jackson aesthetic of Lord of the Rings and applying it to the book The Hobbit. And I know what you're saying. The Hobbit is the prelude to Lord of the Rings. It says that right here on the cover. Why wouldn't that work? And it's like, you know, I'm reading The Hobbit right now, actually, and I've read it
Yeah.
before, but I actually am on kind of like a like Tolkien kick now from just injecting all of these movies into my veins. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, but what's the deal with Elf Heaven? I kind of do want to find out what the deal with Elf Heaven is. You know, who exactly is Radagast the Brown? You know, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But The Hobbit generically is a completely different novel from
Yes.
the Lord of the Rings novels. It is
Yeah.
a kid's book,
Yeah.
right? It is a whimsical kid's book, right? The way almost all the problems are solved in The Hobbit, these episodic problems, are through like wit. They're through like almost like Briar Rabbit style, sort of like
Mm.
cunning or courage, or these very like broad, like kind of kid emotions, right? And now Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings isn't exactly Game of Thrones in terms of like psychological realism, right? But the entire point is it's kind of like the fallen world, right?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you are taking the aesthetic of the fallen world and applying it to like the relative Garden of Eden, right? I know that's not entirely true, right? Smog has desolated people, but you are watching like a fairy tale being
Yep.
told in the style of a dark epic fantasy. And it is just a fucking drag.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the difference between like a grim fairy tale and like Beowulf, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
maybe same broad tradition if you want to link them together, but like
Hmm.
vastly different intended audience and structure and everything. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It just
yeah,
needs to be it needs to have a different aesthetic approach, right? And
yeah.
instead we are force fed, can we make The Hobbit into like a trilogy of the same epic sweep as Lord of the Rings with the same aesthetic as Lord of the Rings, like including like, you know, characters appearing and stuff. But then also we're doing everything with CGI now.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost runs into strangely a Star Wars prequel problem where they're trying to make it like the build up to Lord of the Rings. Like, well, we know where these characters are going to end up in Lord of the Rings, so we need to like get us from The Hobbit to Lord of the Rings when
Hmm.
no such connective tissue exists in The Hobbit as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
standalone book.
Yeah, it's actually so funny because when I started reading this like print copy of The Hobbit,
Yeah.
there's this little note at the front of the book where it says that in this reprint, several minor inaccuracies, most of them noted by readers, have been corrected. And so I start reading this, and I think this is actually like an editor's note, like a bibliographic kind of thing. Like, oh, like there were inconsistencies in the manuscript and like typos and stuff have been fixed. But actually, it's that the original Riddles in the Dark chapter, right, is written before Tolkien knows what the One Ring is, before
Huh.
he knows exactly what Gollum's deal is, right? So, like, the original version, I guess, in the original editions of The Hobbit, which I haven't read, to be honest, Gollum is a lot less nefarious. He's actually
Hmm.
willing to bet the ring in the
Ah.
riddle game, which, of course, the Gollum we know would never do, right? He's so
Yeah.
devoted to the ring, right? And do you know what? Within the voice of this note, right? It isn't written in the sense of like, and yeah, then like Tolkien changed it to make it canonical. It's like written like as if this shit is all real. And do you know what his explanation is for the change?
What?
That Bilbo was a fucking liar. That the original version of The Hobbit is a lie
An
because he didn't want you to
unreliable
know.
narrator.
He didn't want you to know about the One Ring, even though this is not written in the first person.
Oh,
But I
wow.
fucking love
Okay.
that. I love that shit because it is so funny. That is what's so funny about the relationship between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is all the shit that
Yeah.
you would make fun of it for. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't, the ring wasn't that big a deal originally. He's like, no, Bilbo was fucking lying. And then you're like, Gandalf's just kind of a silly wizard, right? That's kind of a trope. And he's like, no, actually, he's a fucking angel. He's
This
a
is it.
manifestation of God.
The more you describe this, the more it is like the Star Wars, right? Like it really takes on like everything becomes more grandiose the more you add on to it over time. And then you need to re-envision the original, much more straightforward sort of hero's tale, just sort of um, flyby story that we have. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Yeah, like
You have to
goblins and orcs,
explain.
right? Goblins and
Yeah.
orcs. So like he just started calling them orcs later, and but then they're like, no, maybe goblins are a different thing. It's like, not really though. They just, he made these stories one after the other.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
wow,
this is so indicative of the entire world we live in that we're always talking about on this podcast, right? Which is we live in a world where everyone, like in a country, I should say, right? Where
hmm,
everyone is pathologically obsessed with fictional universes, right?
yeah,
That they have a relationship to that it's not that I think they think it's real, like if you ask them, like they know it's fake, but their emotional relationship to it is not a relationship to, oh, this is a series of of artistic works that have been made by various people in various conditions, right? There is this idea that like no, this is the biblical canon, and I'm like getting mad at like the
yeah,
Council of Nicene for not doing a good
yeah.
enough job at making the Bible consistent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really is that sort of evangelical zeal at the heart of American history
Yeah,
um, that if you're not going to be a Christian, if you're going to be like a nerd that's into Dungeons and Dragons and shit, you need
yeah.
a religion to to fall back on with the creed and the orthodoxy.
It
Yeah.
really is that, right? It really is like the country that ideologically figured out how to simultaneously believe that, like in a post-secular world, to know like the history of the Bible and the fact that it is this kind of like multi-authored text that was compiled over time, and to also still be able to maintain that it is like the word of God, right? Like the
Yeah.
full word of God.
Yeah.
That country, the country that can hold those two thoughts in its head, is the country that is primed for the Hobbit trilogy.
Filmed in New Zealand. And so I mean we've
Three
we've sort of
billion dollars. in
Jesus
the
Christ.
box office.
Wow. Okay. We've sort of just stumbled into The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and this broader theme we've had around summer vacation, which maybe is just sort of all built off of the Odyssey. We've gone in a lot of different directions, Devin, but I wanted to challenge you to do something for me.
What's that?
I'd like you to, and I'm going to actually ask you to go out of order, describe the plot of each of these films. And let's start with The Desolation of Smaug. Give it to me, your elevator pitch. What is the plot of The Desolation of Smaug?
Okay,
I
so
haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of the other Hobbit films. So please enlighten me what this film is about.
Desolation of Smog
Yeah.
weirdly does not include the Desolation of Smog. That's like number one.
My favorite part though is like they know that it doesn't. So at one point, Smog is like, "I will destroy you. It will be a desolation of smog." Like
Yeah.
he has to like tell the audience like, "Don't worry, this is why we called it that." But everyone's like, "But he's not doing the desolation in this film." Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't
Yeah.
know who Smog is. I don't know what this is all about. I've never seen these films. What's this film? What is the plot of this film in like few
This
sentences?
film is that
Yeah. Yeah.
a hobbit, which is kind of like a really small guy,
Yeah. Okay.
and a bunch of dwarves who are like slightly lesser small guys,
Okay.
and a really tall wizard are
Yeah.
like seeing their friend who can transform into a bear. That's like how we open, right? Um,
Okay.
and then, we gradually learn that they appear to be on their way to try to get some kind of treasure that like used to be theirs or
Mm,
something.
okay.
Um, and this they have to engage with some spiders, but then it's okay because it turns out that the Hobbit has a ring that makes him invisible, which I guess he's just always had.
Okay.
That he uses to kind of dodge the spiders. Then they meet the elves, including this guy who, for some reason, looks like he's been digitally de-aged, which doesn't really make sense because I guess he's like immortal or whatever, and who knows what immortal people look like. But they
Yeah.
meet them and they hang out with them for a while. And then, they get into an argument about Smog, and you're like, who the fuck is Smog? And it's like, he's a dragon, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
like got the treasure.
Ah, okay.
Um, and so then they're like, we gotta go get the treasure. Some other bullshit happens.
Okay.
They meet some orcs, I think, and they get away from those. I want to talk about the barrels later.
Sure, sure. Okay.
They meet a man named Bard, who at
Okay.
the time I was just like, this is just some random guy they're passing by, but it turns out he's like important.
Yeah.
Uh, they get to a town of humans,
Mm.
uh, and then they like go to fucking see Smog, and they send Bilbo in because he can go invisible and shit to try to get
Mm.
like this special stone they need,
Mm-hmm.
so that like the one guy can become king
Okay.
of the dwarves. Even though
Okay.
everyone kind of seems to think he's the rightful king of the dwarves, I don't know why he needs the stone, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Um, also, meanwhile we find out this guy named Necromancer is actually Sauron. So like, that's too bad.
None of those words mean
Um,
anything to me. I haven't seen these other films, but go on.
yeah. And then like Smog is like, well, I'm gonna go do some desolation, and then the movie ends.
Oh. Okay. So what would you say is like the theme of that film? What's the what's like the heart of
I would say that the theme of Desolation of Smog is
Yeah.
the sunk cost fallacy. It's like, well, we've already
Uh,
made it this far, right?
yeah.
Because this is the
Yeah.
movie. It's like you sit down to watch this movie, you're like, I don't know who these guys are. I don't know why they're here,
Yeah.
or like where they even came from, or why they have the special items they have, or where they got them.
Yeah.
But they're already at the weird bear guy's house. They might as well keep going.
Yeah.
But then it's about the downside of the sunk cost fallacy because they finally get there and it's like, oh, whoops, we woke up the dragon and now he's going to go do desolation,
Yeah. Okay.
which unfortunately we don't see.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Same question, but what is an unexpected journey about? What's the? Yeah, and I need like 3 or 4 sentences. Like, what is the general plot here?
Unexpected journey is about being swept up into something you don't understand, right? Kind of like against your better judgment, but that maybe, it's about like an introvert learning to be an extrovert, right? Because it's about Bilbo the Hobbit
Yeah.
gets thrown in kind of against his will and due to peer pressure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes on a journey, ends up getting a magical ring that turns him invisible because he's good
Yeah.
at riddles and also kind of cheats. Uh, does a bunch of other shit, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really a film about let me be more concise here, right? Uh Desolation of Smog is a movie about the sunk cost fallacy and how it's bad, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's a sunk cost.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Unexpected Journey is about how peer pressure is good.
Okay. And finally, Devin, and let me proceed this by saying you cannot tell me that the plot of the film is a battle of five armies. How would you describe the plot for the Battle of the Five Armies?
The Battle of the Five Armies is kind of like it's a really long version of like a Sesame Street thing where they're teaching you how to count to five. But it's also kind of confusing because it's not really clear. They don't really make it clear when each thing is like a new thing. Um, so it's kind of about that.
Right,
It's kind of
right.
about like dialectics. It's about like, when does two or five things meeting become something new? And
Okay.
also the
Yeah.
desolation of smog happens in that one. That's the
You
one
did
where
pretty.
smog
Yeah.
desolates people.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Like right off the bat. Like if you come into
Right
that
at
film and right away it's
boom.
like, oh, here comes that desolation.
It's
Um
like it's so fucking funny because it's like you spend the entirety of Desolation of Smog being like, well, at least I'll get to see the Desolation of Smog. And then they're like, fuck no, you don't. And then they're like, hey, let's like just squeeze it into the beginning of the movie that's also about this that literally is named after a gigantic set piece.
Yeah. I think maybe another important question is for the Battle of the Five Armies, did they have to pay Benedict Cumberbatch?
Ooh. Yeah. Because he
Like you
definitely
have to,
recorded
yeah.
that earlier, right? I think they
Yeah.
have to. If they use him,
Yeah.
they have to.
Yeah.
Because
Cuz
I
I'm
think even
sure
if you use like archival footage,
yeah.
you. I mean, I don't
Maybe
really know. It's not like I
I
care
don't
about
know, but
this,
then
right?
yeah. And there's
I think
various
they had to
times when
pay
he
him.
because there's the whole scene where he's like, "Oh, I see you're reloading your arrow bar." He's like doing a voiceover of what's happening. You're like, "We all know
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
about to happen." Oh, what do you think you're gonna hit me with that bar? No, I'm gonna kill you and your son. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
will
they
say,
probably
if he
paid him.
was paid, he should donate that to charity.
Yeah,
He doesn't
yeah.
need that money. That's dirty money,
That is
right?
that's a very fair point. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like we don't need to go through these movies with a fine tooth
No,
comb, right?
no,
It is
no.
the story of the Hobbit, Bilbo going on his adventure, right? The whole idea of this guy, this little guy who isn't important, getting oh man, he gets swept up into something larger than himself, but then he actually ends up being really important. He kind of learns he has these capacities he didn't know he had. We all know that the story if we've read the book or we've seen the movies or we've seen the
Yeah, I
animated
mean, it's the
film or
story
anything,
of
right?
it's the story of get. I regret it as I started saying the sentence. It's the story of getting a PhD, Devin. All these fucking dwarves show up, You're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. They're like, no, it's gonna be a grand adventure. You're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're lying
Um,
to you. Yeah.
I did realize watching them this time though that Smaug is Franz Ferdinand, right? Because
Right,
like
you
the Battle
mentioned
of the
this.
Five Armies is like World War One, right?
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like Smaug is killed at the beginning of Battle of the Five Armies, and then
Right.
as a result of the fallout of his killing, this unfortunately does mean that Lake Town is like Serbia. Um, but as a result of his killing,
Mm.
the world is swept into, a gigantic multi-army war
Or battle, as a singular
or
battle.
battle.
Yeah. And in and out in 3 weeks, just like World War One. They, you know,
Did you
they.
know like how much Tolkien didn't want to be in the war? Speaking of peer pressure, he kind of got peer pressured into finally like joining World War One. They were like, "Listen, you've got your commission, but it's a little embarrassing." He was like, "I need to study. I'm still studying." And then people were starting to kind of like, get uncomfortable with it, and he finally was like, "All right." So like The Hobbit is kind of about like J.R.R. Tolkien being like, Gandalf showing up and being like, "Listen, buddy, you've got to go into World War One. Like,
Wow.
I know you're just like a little guy making,
Yeah.
you know, fancy meals and writing books, but
Mm. Interesting.
so what was it like for you watching these? Like we don't need to do the plot summary top to bottom, but
Yeah.
take me through your experience emotionally
Yeah.
getting through the three films.
So I think The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey is the one film I saw in theaters. Because there were high expectations that it was going to recapture that experience of the Lord of the Rings.
And so
Didn't
did you
quite.
see it with the high frame rates?
I don't think so. I don't think I saw it in 3D or with high frame rates or any of that stuff. I think at the time I was in Mississippi and the theater did not have that technology. That was heretical.
It's a goddamn shame because I feel like Mississippi would have loved it. Don't you
I'm
think?
sure all
Like,
films these days in Mississippi are at the 48 FPS. Yeah.
I sure
Yeah.
hope not. They're just like upscaling, like they're like
Yeah.
creating frames that don't
Yes.
exist for
Yes.
Mississippi
Yes.
exclusively.
Absolutely, I believe that would be the case. In my head canon, that is how it goes. But I went and saw this in theaters, and I remember thinking like that was fine. There were a few moments where I'm like, oh, it's sort of giving me those feels, but it was probably because they were just reusing the Hobbiton theme from Lord of the Rings. But
Yeah.
um, so I actually I have a newborn, and so my wife and I are watching a lot more like movies and TV while we're hanging out with the baby. And so I was like, well, she's like, well, do you want to rewatch Lord of the Rings? It's been about a year, so that's the typical. Um, and I was like, well, we've got all this time. How about we watch The Hobbit first, and we'll sort of build ourselves up to the Lord. That'll be a nice treat after watching The Hobbit. I don't think I've ever watched through all three of them. So we watched the first one, and then that's when I gave you the idea. I said, hey, you know what we got to do is all three Hobbit films as
It's
part of
making
our
more
theme.
sense now.
and and I was like, well, I haven't seen the other two. I'm sure they're bad, but I'm sure it's fine. Um, and ooh, it was rough. And you want to know how bad it was for me? Without
How's that?
realizing it, we put on the extended edition for the Desolation of Smaug, which is 3.5 hours long, Devin.
There's even less desolation per capita.
There is. It's just you didn't need, and again, it's trying to be another Lord of the Rings, so like we don't need an extended edition of the Hobbit films, but they had to make them because it's, fitting into that square peg. And so it's it was not great. I don't want to say that it had my full attention throughout, but I don't think it needed to either. I don't think it would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
gained. This episode would not have gained anything by me have taking more notes on the three Hobbit films. It would have actually decreased the viability of this
Yeah.
episode. I
Yeah.
think it was not great though. I didn't enjoy it. And by the third one, it felt like a chore. It was like my job. It felt like I had to just like do it because
Yeah.
this is the job, this is the pod. So
The Battle of Five Armies is
yeah,
that's probably what they're going to like whenever they actually invent the severance technology, it'll probably be for like people watching the Battle of the Five Armies.
yeah, you get to skip over it. I am curious though, because then I don't know how I convinced you to do this, but I said, Devin, I know you've watched all three Hobbit films. How would you like to watch a fourth Hobbit film? And you agreed to it.
Yeah.
I'm curious
I
though.
needed to wash these out of my mouth.
So maybe it was an easier sell, but we watched the 1977 animated The Hobbit. But I was sort of curious for you, and I'll start with myself, like your history with The Hobbit, because I'm sure we've all seen Lord of the Rings, but growing up, like the 1977 Hobbit was like my jam as like a 6, 7, 8 year old. That film, the animated film, I loved that film. I cannot recall whether or not I read or whether my father read to me The Hobbit. I know that I had The Hobbit and I know that I liked the pictures a lot. I don't know that I ever actually read it as a kid, but I certainly watched The Hobbit, the animated film, and had the book and really liked J.R.R. Tolkien's illustrations. But I like The Hobbit. I was always jazzed about the idea that they would eventually do a live action Hobbit. I hadn't finished, but I had started reading the Lord of the Rings in middle school, and so like I got that, and that was cool. But like The Hobbit was like my childhood, bringing back that childhood experience. But you're reading The Hobbit now? Have you read it before? What's your
So I had no relationship to Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit growing up, basically.
okay?
No real interest. I was never that interested in fantasy as a genre, like no judgment, just like, wasn't my thing. Really until I got into like the Game of Thrones books eventually. That was like the first time I ever really got into like a fantasy series. I am like gonna read them now because I'm curious. I have technically read them all as audiobooks. So I used to have a data
Okay.
entry job. So that was like in my like mid to late 20s. I did them all as audiobooks. And I would say especially rereading The Hobbit right now, again, no judgment against people who like audiobooks. They don't really count for me just personally. I can't like pay attention to them that well.
Sure.
I think The Hobbit is because it's like a lot more simple. I'm finding as I reread it, it is like surprisingly familiar to me. This is also probably because I've spent like 9 hours watching like different adaptations of this stuff over the last like however many days.
Yeah.
But I would say like the Lord of the Rings books are pretty hazy. I'm expecting when I get to those, for
sure.
it to be a very different experience. I did see them. I saw the Jackson ones when they came out.
Yeah.
My first kiss was during the credits to Return of the King.
Oh wow.
Eighth grade,
Late
I
bloomer.
believe it was.
Oh, well, that's right. You're younger than me. Okay.
It was
Wait,
actually really
Was
funny.
it a midnight showing?
No, it was like it was a first run theatrical release.
Okay. Okay.
But like I don't know, it was probably like a Saturday at like 7 o'clock or something. But
Okay.
I remember it was very funny because I'm like waiting for like the movie to end because I'm like, and that's when I'm gonna like make my move, right? And
Uh-huh.
this one guy in the audience kept thinking the movie was ending and kept starting to clap, and then he'd be wrong and it would still be going. And like,
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm sitting there as like an eighth grader being like, will I try to like kiss this girl?
Mm.
And I think we dated for like 2 weeks and then she broke up with me. And then
Nice.
she said, listen, we need content for this that isn't just yelling about the Hobbit. And then I will always remember she like messaged me on AOL Messenger, like AIM, and she was like, I want to get back together. And I was like, great. But she was like, but I don't want to tell anyone about it. Will you keep it a secret?
Oh.
And I was like, sure.
Um,
And so we got back together. And I think it was like within hours. She was like, actually, no, I want to break up for real. I was like, fair enough.
oh. That
Honestly,
is
fair enough.
that is one of the more pathetic things about yourself that you've ever told me. That one, you went in on that agreement and even that fell apart immediately. But that is what is eighth grade love, if not that. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's phenomenal.
But yeah, didn't
Wow.
really have much relationship to them. I
Yeah.
quite liked the animated Hobbit movie.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
recently
yeah.
saw my girlfriend loves The Last Unicorn. Have you seen that?
No, but I could
It's
see the
animated by the same team.
yeah, yep,
Uh,
yep.
so I quite enjoy. I apparently it was like not very well liked when it came out.
Hmm.
Like there were some really, at least like in the things I read, there were some really fiery takes on it that were contemporary as like a
Oh, wow.
bastardization of the novel or whatever. I thought
Yeah.
it was a joy. I thought it was exactly the kind of tone you want for The Hobbit. And I know
Yeah.
the animation style is like somewhat cheap, but I find that very charming and it's like very
Yeah.
70s, right?
Yeah, it's like very like it's got the like the painted backgrounds. It looks like
Yeah,
watercolor almost. It feels
definitely.
like you're watching a moving J.R.R. Tolkien map.
Yeah,
That's
because
and
it's like
I
you
love
get. I think
that.
they actually literally are moving things around, like under the camera, like
Okay.
possibly.
Did you know they made a sequel to the 1977 The Hobbit?
I saw they only did Return of the
They
King,
did
right?
return. Yeah, they went from The Hobbit to Return of the King, and they were
That's
just
funny.
they so half-assed. They're like, "Hey, guy that played Bilbo, can you just voice Frodo? Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
Well, did you see who voiced Gandalf in The Hobbit, though?
No, who?
John Huston, the
Oh,
director, and also, of course, the villain in Chinatown, is the voice of
interesting.
Gandalf.
Okay, and he came
And of
back
course,
for
Angelica
Return.
Houston's dad and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you
Oh,
seen the
wow.
Ralph Bakshi one? The Ralph Bakshi
I
Lord of
have
the Rings
the
animated
the
one?
like for it's like the first book and a half. Yeah.
That's the one I haven't seen yet.
Oh, okay.
Um,
A lot
I'm
of
excited to watch
rotoscoping
that.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's groovy, I think would be the
Well,
word
and he's a
perhaps to
really
use.
interesting guy. Like
Yeah.
he did like Fritz the Cat and Wizards. He was coming very much from sort of like an underground animation kind of
Yeah.
background. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm curious to see it.
Yeah.
But to say a little like my journey of watching The Hobbits, right? Because I hadn't seen any of these, and I had planned to never watch them.
You
The live
hadn't even
action.
seen the Soviet Union live action Lord of the Rings two-parter?
Wait, what?
You
Is
haven't
that
heard
real?
it's real and oh brother, it is a unique time capture. And this it was like from like 91 or 90. It was like
Whoa.
late Soviet Union. So
That's crazy. Yeah,
they did
1991.
not.
Like, I like
Yeah.
the idea that they're literally. You know what would actually be an amazing movie? Is a movie about the making of this as the
As
Soviet
the
Union
Soviet
is
that's
about to collapse.
that would
And
be a
they're like, we are
fantastic
finishing it. We are finishing Lord of the Rings. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had never seen the Hobbits. I had seen the Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
movies, but I had
Yeah.
never seen the Hobbits until this exercise.
Okay,
And
okay.
man, it was fucking rough, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like Unexpected Journey in retrospect is by far the best, right?
Yes,
Because it has
agreed.
a little bit of the correct tone, partly because it is also the one that's most nostalgic for the original trilogy, right? There are these recreated shots from the originals. Like Peter Jackson kind of redoes a version of his Carrot cameo
Mm.
in it. And
Yeah.
it's like it's bad, but it's at least like watchable. But I mean, it looks awful, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like you get into Desolation of Smog, and you're just like, this is going on for so fucking long, and everything looks so bad.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like having rewatched Fellowship recently, right? Fellowship, what makes it work so well is it's a movie that understands its restraints, right? So, like, even though the production design is really good and even like the CGI is like pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's used tastefully. The camera angles and the framings of the shots are meant to like, do a lot with a little, not necessarily with a little, but you know what I mean? It's like they're using cinematic techniques to make what they have look better, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem with The Hobbit is it's like anytime you see a maybe pretty good shot that captures a little bit of the energy of the original trilogy, it is then going to cut to a completely soulless CGI nonsense, where things are just bouncing around. Nothing has any weight, right? Like the whole sequence with the where they kill like the Goblin King and stuff.
Yeah.
It's awful. There's all these like endless background spaces that look like shitty like MC Escher fantasy paintings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
just nothing means anything. It doesn't make sense as a space. It's just kind of this it's just like decoration because we had infinite budgets and infinite CGI.
Yeah, and so I think one of the things we'll want to get into on the other end of our break is our reactions to this series, and I think CGI is certainly a prevailing one that comes out. And I'm sort of two minds of it, so I'm excited to chat about that with you. But you've certainly given us the heads up of how ludicrous some of the rushed CGI is in this film.
Yeah.
Before we switch gears, any other overarching thoughts you have of this exercise of watching the three Hobbit films?
I mean, it was almost like people fucking like when I say that I like movies like Satan Tango, like Belatar's like 9 hour black and white bleak Hungarian masterpiece. They're like, how could you do that? And then it's like $3 billion worth of people watched this shit. And I'm like, I wish I could understand. I guess I do understand, but I'm just sort of like, I'm not someone who is elitist about like movies. Like I love schlocky movies, right? I love fun movies. I love like 90-minute blockbusters. But it feels like these, much more so than the Lord of the Rings movies, are kind of like a early precursor of where all blockbuster cinema has gone, which is like insanely over baggy, just sort of like filled with endless CGI sequences, but for the sake of the CGI sequences. And like nothing really means anything because everything's just leading to another thing, you know? And it feels like all the wrong lessons were learned from the Lord of the Rings trilogy and its artistic success, right? Which should have been, wow, we did. And you look back at like Return of the Ring or Return of the King winning all those Oscars, and that was maybe the moment that doomed us, right? Because the Oscars were like, they thought they were saying, wow, look at you, you did it. It was crazy to try to make a Lord of the Rings trilogy, and you did it, and you pulled it off. Here are your awards, congratulations. Now time to go back to making normal movies. And instead the lesson was, we only do this now. And we
Yeah.
do it regardless, right? We
Yep.
do it
Yeah.
regardless of whether we have a take. We do it regardless of whether we have an aesthetic. And unfortunately, these movies made such insane amounts of money that they're like making another one now. They're making
Right.
The Hunt for Gollum, and apparently just for whatever reason, I don't know if Ian McKellen like owes people money or something. He's getting back on the horse, despite,
Yeah.
you know, that meme of him being miserable with all the green screens, you know.
Yep. Yep. So that is the Hobbit trilogy. We're about to get into it on the flip side. So stay tuned. Well, Devin, now that we've I hate how I always have to edit these and we do a music cut, and then I come back and say, "Hey, Devin, time for another music cut," because it's a thing that we like to call Vox Populi. All right, now that we've had our second music cut,
I
Devin,
think the most
yeah,
integral part of the show that the viewers
yeah,
don't know about
yeah,
is that, just so you know, when we are recording, because we can see each other even though we don't record the video.
yeah.
Every time we do a music cut, Ethan and I both like put our hands in the air and kind of like conduct the orchestra and sometimes go music, 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 music. And it's so funny because to me, that's sort of like if I was listing like just like the aesthetic tropes I associate with the show, that's like top five, and yet
Yeah.
the listeners don't
Yeah.
know about it. So I just wanted to share it
Yes.
with them.
Similar when we have guests on, we do that and they're very confused as we're both like swinging our hands about going
And we
music,
do
music,
it.
music.
We do it like we're like winking at them, like we're doing the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" One, I've never listened to your show, and two,
Yeah.
this is an audio medium, you know.
Yeah. So, you've given me shit, Devin. And you've given me shit about Vox Populi in the fact that it has perhaps strayed from its original format. If we think all the way back to, say, some of our best episodes like Virus, that that involved a Vox Populi where we were looking at reviews about the film Virus that were written by Russians. And then it's sort of almost become like a little like, hey, here's some trivia about the movie thing. And that's fair. That's a
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
critique, but also sometimes it's fun to do trivia. So get off my back.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back to our roots here in a very lazy way, but a way that I think fits well with the intention of Vox Populi. I've got 3 reviews. These reviews are for each of the 3 Hobbit films. I will give you the title of the review. Sure, I'll give you who it was written by. That won't help. And maybe like a sentence if needed. Most of them, I think the titles will be enough for you to speculate what the review is about. And then I'm going to see how well are you able to anticipate what this review focuses in on for the film. And what I
So
did
I'm
is I
not
went,
just guessing.
yeah,
I'm not guessing what film it's a review of. I'm guessing like sort of like what its take is.
yeah. What do you think that the reviewer either loved or hated about each of these films? And I'll give you the rating out of 10 because what I did is I went back to IMDb and I looked for reviews that came out opening night of each of these films.
Wow.
All right,
Logging
so
on to IMDb opening night, like people do their now in the age of
yeah,
letterbox, that's very
yeah,
normal, right? But that is
mhm,
like at the time these were coming out, that is some
yeah,
sicko behavior.
yeah. And I got to tell you, as I was looking back through some of them, I'm like, oh, these are so AI written, and but like, no, this was 2012. Like, these are people who have nothing to say. They're just like the characters did expressed emotions that I thought were incredible. And it's like, what are you saying? You're not saying anything in these words. It was really interesting trying to weed through these to find three that at least said something.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go through these three, and I'll give you. I'm going to give you just like these are out of 10. I'm going to give you a 0 out of 10. How closely do you anticipate what this reviewer zooms in on for each of these three films? Okay,
Got it.
we are going to start with The Hobbit: The Unexpected Journey. They do still call it The Hobbit, right? It's not just like Hobbit.
Yeah.
The
The Hobbit
okay,
and Unexpected Journey.
okay, there. I was about to say
And
you can't have two
Unexpected Journey.
thes. Okay,
Yeah.
so this review came out, of course, in December of 2012 by Jocker Valentin, and the title is "Complete Joke." Dot dot dot. And I'll give you one sentence to see if to give you a hint for what they
Mm-hmm.
why they think it's a complete joke. They say the whole movie looks like Cirque du Soleil. This person gave The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey a 2 out of 10. Called it a
Yeah.
complete joke. Why do you think they thought it was a complete joke?
So I'm going to use this as an opportunity just to articulate one of my problems with the movie because I don't know if I'll
A
get
risky
the
move. A risky
opportunity
move.
later.
Yeah.
But the dwarves are too hot.
Okay.
Like Thorin Oakenshield looks just like a guy. Like dwarves are supposed to look like Gimli, and then all of a sudden it's like some of them look like Gimli, some of them look weird, and then some just look like kind of like 4'5" guys that look like totally normal, right?
Right. Right.
Um, and so to say, I think like obviously I'm anticipating the CGI as a part of this one, right? The lighting, right? Like everything's too bright. There's bright colors everywhere. There's like just kind of like shit bouncing all around. Um, and just generally not into the kind of the bounciness of everything.
Okay. I'm going to read this review for you and let's see how well you did. I'll tell you, 23 people on IMDb found this helpful. You know how many found it unhelpful? 101 people. So people were not happy
Damn.
with this review. They were not happy with Jocker Valentin's review. Jocker
They should add
Valentin.
a thumbs down to Letterboxd.
that
Really
oh
spice
wow.
things up.
That would change the game. Um Here's what Jocker Valentin says. Hobbit, apparently we've abbreviated the name of the film. Hobbit is a joke. Who can't see the mistakes in the movie is a child or a huge ignorant. Interestingly phrased. Hobbits have mail in the Shire. Bilbo needs to sign a contract to join the dwarfs. Cardinal sin, calling it dwarfs instead of dwarves. Tolkien would blow a gasket with that. Bilbo needs to sign a contract to join the dwarfs in their journey.
He does sign. He signs a contract in the book.
Same Bilbo
I
has
literally just read it.
Same Bilbo has an allergy? What the fuck is that? I want to see them using soap and taking Prozac to get better, considering the circumstances. I have to admit, I had huge expectations for this movie. But after watching it, I was very disappointed. Too many simple mistakes. The set looks fake. The movie insists on two long faces, closed shots. See Smeagol, Gollum sequence. The beginning with the party at Bilbo's house doesn't bring any important significance to the story. Also, at the beginning, during the dwarf cast battle, did he mean like chase bat like what is a dwarf cast battle? I don't know what he's referring to.
I have no idea.
Anyway, many are in the fire, but no one has their long hair or beards burnt. Even a cartoon will show more accuracy in that regard. The whole movie looks like Cirque du Soleil. Not even a dwarf is injured, other
I
than
mean,
their
Cirque du
king.
Soleil looks fantastic. I wish it looked like Cirque du Soleil.
After all those battles, nobody has a scratch on their faces, and Bilbo doesn't have a bad experience wearing the ring. Elves have dark hair? After we know Legolas had white hair when he was relatively young? Orcs are starting to have more detail, but their voices are too clear and their English is immaculate. Really? So this this person had a very particular vision of what the Middle Earth universe entailed.
They're not wrong in a sense because all of these things they're pointing out are bad, and the movie
Yes.
is bad.
Yes.
But also the alternatives, like, oh, if only the dwarves' beards were on fire. I don't know about this. I do want to lobby for some points because I think like
Yeah.
the general the displeasure with the cartoony physics. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was trying to get at with the idea of
Yeah.
bounciness.
Bounciness, the CGI, I think that's part. I don't think dwarves being too hot is what they're zooming in on.
I bet. I think he was, or they rather. I think they were secretly mad about that, but like they're not in touch with their emotions,
Oh,
so
that
they
could
don't
be
realize
fair.
that's why they're so upset.
I'm gonna give you a 4 out of 10, because I think that you touch on some of this, but you don't anticipate how he was just like, yeah, them being at Bilbo's house is dumb. I don't know why they're doing. See, he seems to be upset about the CGI scenes, but also doesn't understand why we have character building scenes. So
Yeah,
it's a bit of a
yeah,
mixed bag here with this Jocker Valentin. Well, you're 4 out
definitely.
of 10, Devin. It's not quite a passing grade, but you can certainly make up for it with the Desolation of Smaug review I have here from Marshmallow 97. The title of this review is Thorin Reclaims His Place in Movie History! Exclamation point. Marshmallow 97 did give this film a 6 out of 10, but again, did title this Thorin Reclaims His Place in Movie History. What do you think this review is all about?
This one is about how Thorin is appropriately hot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good. It's good that he's hot. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I'm fucking sick. I don't
Okay.
know.
That's fair. You made a cardinal mistake of assuming that this person was going to talk about Thorin in the review.
Damn.
So Marshmallow 97 says, "Last night I watched The Hobbit: Desolation of Smaug, and it was really good. The movie was exiting, I'm assuming they mean exciting, all the way throughout the 161-minute runtime. It was way better than The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, though I did enjoy the first one as well. This movie is really action-packed and keeps you at the edge of your seat. The 3D looks great in this movie, and there are a lot of great images. Though the Lord of the Rings trilogy is way better, so don't go into the cinema with too high expectations." I'm going to have to yada yada a bit of this, but I'll get us started on this very long middle paragraph. There are many cool characters. All the dwarfs, again, dwarfs and not dwarfs. Ooh, rough. All the dwarfs are back as well. And there's no singing! Smiley face. I wasn't that fond of the dwarfs in the first movie, but now they're starting to grow on me. Now I'm finding myself really caring about each and every one of them. The movie also introduced a new character to the Tolkien universe. This character isn't written by Tolkien, but by the movie writers. The character's name is Tariel, and she's a wood elf. Legolas is also a wood elf. She's played by the actress Evangeline Lilly, which is most known for playing Kate in the hit series Lost, 2004 to 2010. I thought
my
Toriel
God.
was a great / awesome character. She's one of my favorite characters in the movie. So Peter Jackson made a great decision when he added her. She kicks ass all the way throughout the movie, and she has about the same fighting style as Legolas. It was really cool seeing another Lord of the Rings character, and I was glad to see Legolas again. Gandalf is cool as always, and is my favorite Middle Earth character. Gandalf has great, the greatest quotes, and is a very likable character. Again, you see how all these they feel like they should be AI reviews, but this was written in
I
2013,
do
so
fear, like, if Marshmallow 97 was born in 1997, they may have been 16 when they wrote this, right? So
yep,
I don't want to go too hard on them, but
fair.
I got to be honest about something. Until just now, I completely forgot about the Evangeline Lilly character. I had
Yes,
just
yep.
completely memory hold it, which makes sense, given that I honestly didn't realize it was a completely original character.
Yep.
I think with a lot of this stuff, it's hard to know, like, is it in the fucking Silmarillion somewhere, or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
Who knows? But um, she certainly feels like a character that is like tacked on.
Yes.
And I mean, to be fair, the I think the book might literally not have a woman in it, so
Yeah, yeah, she's added in the film. Legolas is not by name in The Hobbit either. You might suppose that he's one of the characters in The Hobbit, but is not certainly not a
yeah, just like
main
one of the
character.
elves, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the worst decisions too, because just the de-aging on Orlando Bloom
It's
looks
so bad. It's
awful.
extremely bad. Anyways, every moviegoer should give this, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, a try. I give it 8.8 out of 10, which is strange because they gave it a 6 out of 10. Then he gives a link to his website where I suppose that he provides additional reviews. So, see, here's the problem, Devin. He doesn't mention Thorin
At
at even
all.
in passing in this review.
I mean,
Um,
they do talk about they're the marshmallows, the
yeah.
dwarves collectively. Um,
Okay.
and they are
Okay.
being
They like
swayed
the
by them,
dwarves. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah. I'll give you a 1 out of 10 on this. Um,
it's fine.
it's yeah, but you're gonna come back swinging with our last one, which is of course the Battle of the Five Armies, and the title of this review is "The Frustration of the 144 Minutes." I don't know that I need to say anything more than this.
I
I will
mean,
say this is written by Rui in 2014 now. 404 people found this helpful. Only 213 found it unhelpful. So a bit on both sides, but most people
yeah.
found it helpful. The frustration of the 144 minutes, and he gave it a. I am gendering every one of these reviews, and I apologize, but this person gave the Battle of the Five Armies a 7 out of 10.
Huh, I'm surprised it's that high based on the title.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it seems to be that it's too long, right? Like, because they
Yeah.
have effectively taken um a very small amount of the book and basically like a fight scene and made it into an entire film. So I would guess just like too long for too little story.
All right, so here's what Rui says. What a difference an extended edition makes. For the first part, we got some jolly embellishment. For the Desolation of Smaug, we got bags, more depth and character. For the Battle of the Five Armies, it may, I hope, be transformative because right now, this feels like an unfinished journey.
Oh,
It's
oh
as
man.
if, after all the
This
complaints
person
about
needs this person
splitting
needs
a
needs help.
pamphlet
This person needs help.
into a
I'm calling the
novel into
police.
3 parts, Peter Jackson is playing a joke on us. This is what you get when you ask for Middle Earth light. Characters we've come to love or loathe arc into nothing. Others
You
like
simply we
Bjorn,
simply had
Bjorn and who's Bjorn? I don't even remember who that is.
the bear guy.
Okay, Bjorn and Radagast are given literally seconds of screen time. And for the first time in this prequel trilogy, a whole chapter, the return journey, is pretty much eluded entirely. Sorry, elided entirely. So this guy goes on for like 8 more paragraphs. I'm not going to read it to
I've
you.
never been happier to lose a game.
Yeah.
This guy is a psycho.
I'll
Oh
give
my
you just the
God.
last
The
couple, the
Hobbit
last paragraph
trilogy
here.
wasn't long
It was
enough.
the result is a film that really earns its status of quote theatrical cut insofar as it resembles many a boisterous blockbuster. This is fairly damning criticism for a Middle-earth movie, usually so luxurious and layered in its sense of a unique world. There's plenty of meat here, but where are the bones that hold it all together? 11 months away, perhaps.
Here's the thing, man. Like,
Yeah,
you've got a
yeah.
point, right? The movie sucks ass. All right. But the reason the movie sucks ass isn't that there wasn't like 45 minutes of Radagast the Brown or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and again, I just want to point again to it's like you read the fucking book.
Yeah.
Like, like Bjorn, like whatever's in this book is on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
then
this is
some.
not a like there is not like a TV miniseries of Bjorn in this book. It's cool that you read it as a kid and you
Yeah.
kind of like imagined this vast world that Bjorn could exist in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So Devin, you've
No
lost,
wonder we
but
live in this horrible world.
in many ways, won what we call a little classic throwback. I might say I tried to get back to maybe in a way that destroyed your feelings this evening, but get back to the
Happy
heart
for them
of
to be destroyed.
what we call Vox Populi. Hand motions. Okay. So we've got to cover a couple of things about this film, but I think maybe the most
Do we?
important yeah, probably not. Let's cut to the chase. I watched this film with my wife, Katie, and Katie has some very important insight to share about the Lord of the Rings. So I'd like to
Thank God,
turn
because
it
we
over
need
to
it. We
her.
need some juice. We
Yeah,
need
so
an
and let me
injection.
tell and based on what she was sharing with me as I was watching these films with her, she's got some juice. So I'm going to turn it over to Katie to share a little bit about um how would I summarize this? That like all the actors were gay and fucking each other and then also like Ian McKellen accidentally revealed that they're okay. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's
Oh yeah, I
Katie
do
to
know
give
about
us
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
here's some juice that I think is really holding this trilogy together.
Yes, because I am lazy and I didn't want to open up my computer um to get on here. So, imagine this. It is 2012. You are 20 years old if you're me. If you are you two, you're much older. So, you are 20 years old and you see the trailer for The Hobbit come up onto the scene. And the marketing ploy for The Hobbit was Hot Dwarf Richard Armitage, like Hot Dwarf. And then the other marketing ploy was Hot Elf Lee Pace. And then the other marketing ploy was Hot Human Luke Evans. So all of these like
This is my thing is like you weren't here, Katie, but my whole take is that the dwarf is too hot.
no, he's so
I
hot. So hot. So here's like the thing that the context given about The Hobbit at this point. It's 2012. Martin Freeman has already been like a pretty prolific actor at
Is
that
he
point.
hot?
I think so. I like him.
He's like adorable.
Yeah, he is. He's cool. He's great. I actually did like him in Sherlock, and I thought he's a cute Watson. I'm not a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan, but that's me. So anyway,
Oh, I
Martin
didn't even think
Freeman.
about how there's like a Sherlock reunion in this.
Hmm. Oh, we're gonna get into some other things, but yes, Sherlock reunion. Um, so Martin Freeman already pretty famous. He had been in The Office. He had been in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Has a long like resume already. We also have
That would have been a great travel film. Hitchhiker's. I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
Gandalf, played by Ian McKellen. Obviously, he is just like an absolute star, iconic gay icon at this point, right? Richard Armitage has come off of a pretty big year in Captain America in 2011. He was kind of in like a smallish part in Captain America.
What was he in Captain America?
Captain Herschlager. He was in it. I remember.
Okay.
Um, Lee Pace was also coming off of Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Wait, Lee Pace was in
Oh.
Twilight?
Yes, he was.
We were
Yeah.
literally talking about Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 earlier in the episode.
Lee Pace is in, yes, Lee Pace was in it. And so
Who is he?
he is, okay, so he plays, I
He's
forget
just
the
like one of
characters.
the. Oh
One of
yeah, he's this
he's one of
guy.
the vampires that comes and like hangs out with the Cullens, and like is in support of the
Yeah, yeah.
the
I was talking
tragedy
about
that
this
is
earlier, Katie, but
Renesmee.
I actually like unironically love Breaking Dawn Part 2. And one of the things I love most about it is the incredibly self-indulgent credit sequence at the end where literally every actor gets a curtain call, even though most of the actors haven't been in the series until Breaking Dawn Part 2 and are just
Yes.
essentially like, well, that's
Yeah.
another vampire who came to the big meeting.
Well, it's like I think too a lot of those like actors were just like kind of like cameos essentially. Like Lee Pace.
Yeah.
He kind like I think that Lee Pace is like as big of an actor that you could get in Breaking Dawn at that point, besides Martin Sheen and the like I think Chris her
Martin
idol.
Sheen is in it?
Yes, like oh
I
my
don't
God,
remember Martin Sheen.
yes. Oh, are we gonna have to do a Twilight episode?
No,
So
you mean Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen, not Martin Sheen.
I was like,
Martin
Martin
Oh,
Sheen.
Martin Sheen. No, that's my president.
like
That's my
President
president.
Bartlett gets called in like, Sir, what are we going to do about these vampires? He
Um,
doesn't care because Washington's a safely blue state. He doesn't have to do anything.
I have a okay. I can't get on thoughts about West Wing, but anyway, to so Lee Pace is coming off of that. He also had Pushing Daisies, which was a pretty big like cult classic, I would say. It was a series that had a pretty big cult following, and then we have Luke Evans. Luke Evans came off of Three Musketeers with Logan Lerman. Also had Orlando Bloom in it, but I believe that was in 2010. So we have these like relatively not super well known hot guys who are on the scene. And I would say also too, like Richard Armitage and Luke Evans were pretty big in theater because they were like British actors. But for the most part, to American audiences, we really didn't know a whole lot about these actors. Um, Coincidentally, the only actor in these films and the big cast not in a Marvel film, Luke Evans.
Mm.
Yeah, the rest of them have all been in Marvel films.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because he sounds like Luke Evans is the most guy in a Marvel film ass name imaginable.
Right. Well, I think part of it is it is, and we'll get into some other things here, but I get the feeling that he doesn't want to be super famous, and he never wanted to be super famous. He just wanted to do his art. Um
Did he wanted his like sexual preferences to be
Okay,
publicly.
so
Oh, sorry. Okay.
you're again. Stop.
Okay.
So again, it's 2012. Okay. Um, Gay marriage isn't even legal yet. All right. Um, but the whole marketing ploy is that this is from Peter Jackson, and it also has a bunch of really, really hot men in this film. Ian McKellen comes on the scene, and he's had a great time filming this. He's with his people. He's having the best time. And if you don't know anything about Ian McKellen, he is an old queen.
Mm-hmm.
McClellan.
Yeah.
McKellen?
Yeah.
McCraren.
McKellen.
Mc McCollin.
Yeah, there you go.
McKellen.
McCollin?
McKellen?
McCollin?
Kel.
Ian Macaulay Cole. Yeah. Okay.
I know it's Ian McKellen. Anyway, um so he gets asked, Gandalf gets asked during an interview, like, um, you know, how's it been filming? And essentially he goes out and outs every single actor that is on this film, whose agents were horrified that they had that he had outed all of these like very straight passing actors, and they're like, oh fuck. Lee Pace, I think, being the most like, oh shit. So he outed Lee Pace, and Lee Pace took it very graciously. But like Richard Armitage and Luke Evans, Richard Armitage, nobody knew outside of his immediate family. Luke Evans, again, nobody really knew outside of like the theater. Um, and Gandalf said, let me make some magic here, and outed every single actor. Um, in addition to that, right? So like here's Ian McKellen, and he feels so awful that he has just outed all of his castmates. Martin Freeman's having a great time though, because he says 6 feet in a hot tub, not gay. Uh, that's okay. Never mind. Ethan doesn't get it. Anyway, the moral of the story is that Lee Pace and Richard Armitage dated throughout the entire filming of this series. And it got to the point too where like, so the big thing is that a lot of these actors never wanted to comment on their sexuality because they wanted to like be about acting.
Yeah.
And
And
they
that was
didn't
also
like,
kind of like the parlance of the time, right? It was
right,
kind of an era of
exactly.
kind of don't ask, don't tell kind of approaches in pop culture.
Which is like very different, I think, from today, which is like, because like you look at Jonathan Bailey, who has been an out actor for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like part of like the marketing strategy for him, I feel, is that like, oh, look, he can play a gay or straight actor, or a straight character. And I think that that's part of the way that they market him. And they do a very good job of being able to toe that line. I don't think that like at this point in time, agents and advertisers like and people who worked in PR didn't really know how to market that, like market an out straight assuming man. Um, so anyway, everybody fucking and sucking.
Yeah, it's like the filming of Jesus Christ Superstar in the 70s. But it's just like
Was Ian
taking
McKellen
off
in that
all the
too?
like green screen stuff and you know, enjoying that New Zealand air, you know.
Right, which I just think it's like the funniest thing is that they definitely tried. I feel like man, Lee Pace was just so majestic in that role. But it's funny to me that they took the most. I think like Aiden Turner, who again is like a hot elf, okay, not gay but hot elf, and Evangeline Lilly, who I think have like the least amount of like chemistry.
It's profoundly negative chemistry,
Like, I
right?
wish that they would have just done Lee Pace and Richard Armitage's
Well,
characters,
you have
art
to
imitating
imagine
life.
what like because like when the cameras are not on, right? And they're just like at the craft services table, and like Aiden Turner is like filling up, a plate with like, some bagels, like, some cut fruit. And then Evangeline Lilly is coming up with who knows what kind of political takes,
I was about to
right?
say, how many times did you think that she talked about her homeopathic remedies?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. She's like, do you know anyone with back pain? Because so they've invented a new way to actually extract the measles vaccine out of your body, and it'll fix all of those problems for you.
Mm.
And so it's gonna be hard to like, be like, oh, I need to be in love with this woman
I
on screen.
I just also have never been like a huge Evangeline Lilly fan. Um, uh,
She doesn't
I,
have the juice.
no, no juice, no juice.
I mean, the Lost actors were all kind of fucked, you know? It kind of like
I want to support women, but some women are awful.
there's plenty of women out there to support.
There's
I agree.
so many women.
Like
There's
Kate
We've
Blanchett. I
got
wish
binders full of
like
women. Speaking of 2012, binders full of women that you can support.
One thing is Kate Blanchett is also in this movie. Notably, she has never been on the record as being gay, and I wish she was.
She has a husband, right?
I know she's so hot.
Well, her husband actually does kind of have her and her husband have a kind of like the vibe that Aiden Turner's character and Evangeline Lilly's characters are supposed to have in the movie because like, she's this like
Her
tall,
husband is like
majestic
a little
actress.
hobbit.
Yeah, he's like a little like playwright guy. But it
Yeah,
seems to be true
so
love as
cool.
far as I can tell.
And I love that for them. Can you imagine Ian McKellen being so messy on that set though?
It's so funny. Like I read that because I was just looking up like who Lee Pace was like while watching the movie because I'm like, wait, this guy looks familiar. Who is he? Because he's in all the elf makeup and the hair, and so
Yeah.
I'm just skimming his Wikipedia page and I read that out loud to Slug. That personal life section, and we're like losing it. Like Ian McKellen's just like you get the vibe that he's just like at this interview, just like chugging like
Yeah.
rosé and just like, oh no, it was great. I was there with like, because like I think the question was something like, is it hard like being a gay actor? And he was like, oh, it's very easy. I work with all these other gay actors, Lee
Right?
Pace, Luke
Yeah.
Evans.
And like the funny thing is too, it's like I think I've been thinking about this a lot, is like the difference that Ian McKellen had like on Lord of the Rings set with, with like the nicest men ever who are like the four hobbits in Lord of the Rings and also Viggo Mortensen, I would leave them with my drink at a party. Like highest compliment, I think like they can watch my drink and I would be like, it's that's like the ring, it is protected. There nothing is getting to that. Um, so I think
What
of
about
just
worm tongue? What
okay,
about worm tongue? Would you leave your drink with worm tongue?
my guy, I said just those five.
Oh,
I
okay.
just said those five. But the funny thing is that, like, I'm like, oh, I bet that they were like really nice, right? Like these are really
Yeah, they all
nice.
got those matching tattoos.
Yeah, I bet that they were super nice to each other, and I bet that they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're just so great, dude!" Like, really broing it up. And then Ian McKellen gets to The Hobbit, and it's like, my people, right? Like, I think about like, I bet that set was amazing. I bet.
Well, about
No,
the set.
no, was it not?
Did they
Ooh.
ever meet?
Well, that is
Oh,
sort of the question, right? Because there's the famous
oh,
image of Ian McKellen sitting. He's in the Gandalf outfit and he's sitting at like an entirely green like desk or
green.
table
That's
surrounded by
right.
entirely green objects and
Didn't
he's
he
like
like?
breaking down.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, didn't he? It was like he's like, this isn't acting because he wasn't with anybody. He was
Yeah.
essentially just like doing in front of a green screen, and he's like, this is like blasphemy on my art.
But you are giving me hope, Catie, that maybe like because I was pretty depressed about the fact that after that, I was pretty depressed about how after that breakdown, McKellen is nonetheless coming back for this new like Lord of the Rings movie that they're doing like the Rogue One of Lord of the Rings to like, the little bit of connective tissue that hasn't been covered yet.
What is it?
And I was like, "Oh, does he owe people money or something?" But maybe he's just like, "Hey, let's get back to the Middle Earth, let's get back in the hot tub,
I mean,
Let's
maybe
get
maybe he's looking for more young actors to out
I mean, I
accidentally.
hope I hope he's getting involved in the casting. I hope.
I love the community. I really do. And to be honest, like if you could be outed by anyone, the iconic Gandalf is and Magneto is like not the worst person
I
to
mean, I
out you.
wonder if like, we do have to give Ian McKellen a little credit because you know what it reminds me of him outing Lee Pace is do you remember when Joe Biden accidentally like revealed that like Obama wasn't opposed to gay marriage? And then they were like, "Ah,
Oh,
fuck, we got to do this."
I gotta run
ma-
with it.
at that moment in culture, it kind of felt like, right, anyone
It's not the beginning
like
of Dark
mainstream
Brandon.
liberal culture, at least, right, was all okay with homosexuality, with gay marriage, etc., right?
Yeah.
And there was just kind of this like cultural gridlock, right? And it took just like a couple of like confused old men to just sort of like mistakenly force people to stop pretending like they actually cared about, gay marriage, for example. But thankfully, at least those people have now found like a cause that really matters to be upset about, that they care a lot about, which is women's sports. So, yeah.
Yay.
While Ethan's gone, I'm just going to talk about the barrels, and maybe he can just put this at the end of the podcast because, I wanted to talk about it earlier and other things kept coming up. There is a moment in the Desolation of Smog where I can't even remember. They're like escaping from the goblins or something. I think it's after the spiders, right? And the way they escape is that Bilbo and the dwarves, they all get into these big barrels, like wine barrels, right? That then roll into the like river and like roll away. And then that's how when I think they meet like Bard or whatever, right? The Luke Evans character. And I think that scene perfectly captures the way that anytime I thought I was like maybe even just like starting to hate the movie a little less, that it would immediately slap me in the face because they're working with these barrels, right? And I know this isn't much, but I wasn't asking for much at this point, right? We're like 6 hours in or whatever it is. And it seems like they're real barrels, right? There's like actual props. And I'm seeing the way they're kind of jostling as the actors are getting into them or interacting with them. There seems to be like some real weight to them. And then there's a shot of like the sort of like trap door kind of ramp opening up and the barrels rolling off. And I'm like, you know what? It wasn't much, but I was literally about to turn to my girlfriend Slug and say, "Hey, I'll give him this. These barrels actually have some weight to them. These barrels actually have like I can feel the tangibility of the barrel." And I was as I'm turning to say that to her, it cuts to this horrific wide CGI shot
Sure.
of the barrels all just like bouncing down this
Sure.
fucking mountain or whatever it is, that looks like a fucking Thomas Kincaid painting. And
Yeah.
suddenly the barrels have no weight at all. They are like bouncy balls. There's no physics to it. It's just like gratuitousness because we could. it's exactly the kind of shot you don't get in Fellowship of the Ring, right? Because they would be like, okay, we just got to show these barrels and then we'll cut to like the river later, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I'm watching like a screensaver in between, and it completely destroys that little bit of buy-in they had built with me with the actually using real barrel props. So
Yeah.
that's what it all comes down to me is the barrels.
So, and I think I get what you're saying. And I think a lot of folks, their big takeaway from the Hobbit trilogy is like the CGI was rushed and ass and too much. Which I think is fair, but to me, the underlying issue is not the CGI, which is bad. To me, what drives all of these concerns that you are describing is the need to make The Hobbit connected to Lord of the Rings, the need to introduce
Yeah.
these plots from the similar like not just like the broader Tolkien universe of like trying to read between the lines like who's the necromancer and where was Gandalf when he wasn't in the Hobbit. And that's why like you have the barrel scene, and I actually think it starts off pretty adorably where like Bilbo releases the barrels and then it's like, oh shit, I'm still here, fuck.
Yeah.
Like but then it becomes like an orc battle with all these
Yeah.
characters that are not in the Hobbit, and
Yeah.
that's where it sort of breaks down to me and becomes this sort of like the barrels are a means to have it be like a theme park ride where they're just like fighting
Yeah.
orcs and doing but like so that's to me it is the extension beyond the source material that makes the films not work, that results in shitty CGI. Like all the shitty like orc characters are not really in the Hobbit. They're
Yeah.
invented for the film. So that's where I think the breakdown is, rather than oh they use too much CGI.
Well, and to get to our core theme for this miniseries, right? I think what you're pointing out is that The Hobbit is a book about a guy going on vacation, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
a stressful vacation, as vacations
During the summer of
often
his
are.
life, Devin. During the summer of his
Yes,
life.
during the summer of his life, things go wrong,
Yep.
but he also, it's like the team comes together, they end up having a good time, they meet some
Mm-hmm.
interesting people, they connect with them on Instagram, and he comes back home, right?
Yeah.
Importantly, right? Because that's what
Yeah.
you do after a vacation, right? And they are making this in vacation movie into a movie about like moving, and no one likes moving. Moving isn't fun. We don't watch great literature isn't about moving. Great literature is about going on vacation. The origin of the Western world is a story about a guy going on a vacation.
Yeah. It's a great point. Like where the original Hobbit is just you're going off on summer vacation. You're meeting some friends, you're becoming Instagram friends. And this makes it a whole thing where like this makes it the instance where 10 years later you get an Instagram comment where you're like, oh, people comment on Instagram where like that friend from 10 years ago is like, wow, your post is really critical of Israel and really seems sort of like anti. And you're just like, we don't
Yeah,
need this.
yeah.
This ruins the entirety of that adventure that happened.
We are
in this-
vacation
yeah, this is
friends.
a vacation.
It's
And-
a zone of
yeah.
exception. We don't need.
Yeah. Yeah, and this tries
that's
because
the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because vacation is also it's a space in which things happen that don't mean anything. It's like, oh, we're on vacation. What are we gonna do
Yeah.
today? I don't know. We're gonna go scuba diving. Why? Who the fuck knows? It's like something to do, right?
Yep.
And they are trying to make that into a story where everything means something, because everything has to lead to something else. And what is that
Yeah.
if not a map for like the MCUification of culture?
Absolutely.
And then watching them becomes work because it's not vacation anymore. Going to the movies is work. If I want to understand Fantastic Four, I have to watch 17 hours of TV at home.
Yeah, and I think maybe the ultimate example of where it all falls apart, which is probably the example that these uh Lord of the Rings cinematic universe fans fall into, is the scene where it's a battle between Sauron and Gandalf,
Yeah.
Galadriel,
Yeah. It's
Saruman,
awful.
Elrond.
Oh my
It's like a
God.
fucking Avengers moment. And it's like, what is this doing in the Hobbit film? This this
It's
is
absolutely
but they
dog
had
shit.
to do it because that's the culmination of them trying to throw in all these other plots to try and make the Hobbit
Hmm.
be a explicit sequel prequel to the Lord of the Rings, when really
Yeah.
it's only tangentially in that, like, oh well, it involves the ring and Bilbo, and I guess the son of the one of the dwarves is in the Lord of the Rings. Like that's it, and that's all you
Yeah.
need. But they try to make
Hmm.
it cohesive, and their insistence on making it cohesive makes it absolute rubbish. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because
yeah.
it's like we said, you are fundamentally taking what are two related books that are in different genres, and
Mm-hmm.
you're insisting that they form a continuous whole.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't. And that is to their strength, actually. I think that is to Tolkien's strength that he recognized that the different stories needed to have like different formal approaches, different kind of like tones,
Yeah.
right? Because like even like just the narrative voice in The Hobbit is like the same kind of narrative voice you get in like a like Chronicles of Narnia book or even like a Roald Dahl kind of book. You know, where like it sounds like the narrator is like reading you a bedtime story. You
Yeah.
know, there's all these moments with like, and Bilbo saw the goblins, and the goblins in those days were quite bad, and they did, it's like kind of this like it's a yarn, you know.
But I mean
Um,
this, and I hate to, just name the elephant in the room, but like it's the influence of like capital on the film franchise of the Lord of the Rings, that it
mhm.
takes something that is in that moment and in that time, probably only because they filmed all three films at the same time before it
Yeah,
could be destroyed. Um, it ultimately subsumes this magical thing that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that cannot be replicated, in the insistence that it must be replicated because look at
yep,
how profitable that
hmm, yeah.
trilogy
And
was.
you see how much that involves, right? This desire for technologies that essentially are defying God's will, right? De-aging, right? Gratuitous CGI, right?
Yeah.
And now AI, right? This
Yeah.
desire that like cuz you know what used to happen when you were making like a fucking like series and then one of the important characters like the actor died, you just cast a new person and no
Yeah, it's a
one
new guy.
gave a shit cuz they
Yeah.
were like what were they going to do? Like create an evil technology that's going to destroy the world economy, and that also lets them kind of badly make a fake CGI version of the dead
Hell yeah.
person.
Hell
And
yeah.
then
That's
it
General
turns out that the
Tarkin.
answer to that question is yes.
Hell yeah. That looks like a uncanny General Tarkin. Hell yeah, brother. Uh
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well, I
geez,
think we can pass
Devin.
out the fucking Jimmy Buffets because
I
I
yeah.
I am sick because I was on vacation.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just say that I think we're arriving, and it's good because we're at the midpoint of the miniseries, right? I think we're arriving at what our real take is, which is that not just movies, but narrative itself, like the human art of narrative, is in a like one-to-one relationship with the art of going on vacation, and we
Yeah.
have lost the material ability to go to vacation go on vacation due to like neoliberalization and proletarianization, right? And we have
Mm.
likewise lost good narrative, right? We need to make movies vacation again. That is our position, and if anyone is going to do that, if anyone has the spirit of vacation in them, I think it's Mr. Christopher Nolan, right? That guy knows how to have fun. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously or anything.
No, no, no. He just sort of wings it, right? That's just his deal.
Won't it be so fucking funny after all the trailers? Like, I don't want to talk about it too much because we're gonna do it, but I think the
Mhm.
trailers look awful, to be honest. But it'll be so fucking funny if after all these like really dark and serious trailers, we go to see the Odyssey and it's like a fucking romp. It's just like, Matt Damon just being like, "Oh shit, the Lotus Eaters, this is crazy." Like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. Look at these sirens. They're fucking R-worded. He's just gonna have a Boston accent the entire time. Uh
yeah,
that would
yeah.
be that would be interesting. Um yeah, it won't be I mean, it can't live up to your idea of the Odyssey because it's the film media like the film medium. It can't.
Yeah.
Anyone who thinks it lives up to the Odyssey when they watch the Odyssey is someone who has their I don't know has like never read any bits of the Odyssey. Their interpretation of the Odyssey
Yeah.
is I don't know like the Hercules series from the 90s. Like I like
Yeah.
it can't
Well,
live
and
up to
also
it
it's
by
like,
definition.
yeah. Well, you're literally right because I'm not even trying to be like, oh, the Odyssey's so great. I mean, I do think it is great, right? As a work, but it's also like we live in a society that has like completely built its idea of culture on ideas about the Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a tall task, to say the least.
Yeah. And they've got a
Um,
black woman in it.
well, as long as there's no secretly gay people and they don't let Ian McKellen near them, I think it's gonna be okay.
I don't know. I don't know. They've got the historical figure of Helen of Troy is played by a black woman. So,
Hmm.
at
Yeah.
my mentor Elon Musk tells me that that's essentially game over.
Words that were all these words you're using were just I just want to emphasize how they were meaningful words
Yeah.
in ancient Greece. They
Yeah.
meant they were words that if you went to ancient Greece and you used them,
Yep.
they would have made a lot of they
No,
would have been socially legible
Homer was
terms.
very clear in saying that Helen of Troy was not an African American or let alone a Nigerian.
Yeah.
He was very clear about that, Homer. Um,
Hmm.
so anyways,
Yeah,
everything's
well,
awful.
Homer
Yeah.
did just want Lee Pace to play Helen of Troy.
Well,
Um,
Homer wanted us to keep politics out of the Odyssey, and now we've politicized it, and that's Homer would be so disappointed with this.
yeah.
Uh, hey, Jimmy
Because you shouldn't
Buffett.
politicize vacation.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Vacation is about having
yeah,
a good time. And speaking about
yeah,
having a good time,
yeah.
let's hand out the Jimmy Buffets. I don't think this is going to take very long.
Okay.
Uh, Zero. I fucking hated
Oh,
these movies.
wow.
Awful,
Okay.
awful, awful movies. Zero Jimmy Buffets, and I don't have to look up any shit about Jimmy Buffett because I'm not giving any out.
Wow, that's incredible. That's like 8 hours for a zero. So you're welcome for making you
I would like
watch
to
all
imagine
of
like a blind Jimmy Buffett
it.
singing a like 12-hour song about how bad these movies are. So I suppose
Mm,
if we can produce that,
yeah.
um,
It's like an
you
AI
know,
Jimmy Buffett song about
yeah.
about
I'll go burn part of the
yeah.
Amazon after this so I could get a AI. What if Jimmy Buffett sang a Homeric ballad
Yeah.
about how bad The Hobbit was? And
That's
that's the one Jimmy Buffett I will give the trilogy
yeah.
in toto.
Well, Devin, I can't give this zero because there are glimmers of the book that I loved as a child, and even the animated film. Like that, like it seemed like some of the songs they sang is like, oh, did you just like take this from the 70s animated film?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Um, so like I got glimmers, just like brief glimmers of that when I was watching this film. Overall, it was shit. And it felt like I was on a overpriced Universal Studios theme park ride for most of it, and I had a bad time. And I was looking at my phone for a good chunk of some of this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's only fair that I give it at least one Jimmy Buffett. Specifically, of course, Jimmy Buffett, Cheeseburger in Paradise. And that's because like what is the Hobbit series if not Cheeseburger in Paradise? Like you've had the Lord of the Rings, right? And so you're
Yeah.
imagining like we know how good it can be. So what is the Hobbit if not it's certainly going to be a Cheeseburger in Paradise, right? Like we've
Yeah.
reached it. We know what we can do. We've got Peter Jackson at the helm. We've got Ian McKellen coming back. Like it's going to be a Cheeseburger in Paradise. Now, when you bite into that, microwaved burger with a soggy pickle and wilting lettuce in the Caribbean, the fact that you're in it almost makes it more insulting to be
Yeah.
eating that cheeseburger in paradise. So like I could be doing anything in paradise and I'm eating a cheeseburger in paradise.
Yeah.
You sort of start to lose the steam when you realize, oh God, what have I done? I ordered a cheeseburger
Yeah,
in
it's
paradise.
specifically it's the cheeseburger you get at the airport before your flight back from paradise, right? So you've been
Yeah.
having these like great
Yeah.
local
Yeah.
meals and all these great experiences, and then you're like you're at the airport, and you're waiting for your flight, and you're kind of like, I should just like get like, I should just get like a Cliff Bar from the Hudson News, right? Like, I'm gonna be home in like 2 hours. I've been spending a lot of money and eating a lot on this trip. And then you're like, I could splurge for one more meal. And then you go to the Chili's 2 and you get
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cheeseburger, and you technically are still in paradise, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
In a geographical fashion, but
Yep.
it is not a place of honor.
Yep. Yeah. And so that's why I'm giving it one because I think that like I did feel those connections, but oof, that really is apologies to Dr. Buffett, but that is a cheeseburger in paradise, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
you're
I
welcome,
certainly hope.
Devin, for making you watch all three of these films. I will say, in your defense, I watched the extended version of the first two
Yeah.
films, and by the time I got to the third, I was literally like, I cannot do it. I physically and mentally and emotionally
Despite that
will
reviewer,
not. Yeah, I will not watch the extended version of the Battle of the
what
Five
if we
Armies.
watch it and it
Why
fucking
does this
slaps?
exist? Yeah,
What if
that's
it's like
it's the
so
best
good?
film of the 21st century. Yeah, I don't believe that would be the case, but well, we may never
You
know.
turn
We
it
may
on
never
and
know.
it's like
Audience,
come and see. It's
audience,
like
let us know. Let us. Is the extended version of the Battle of the Five Armies not absolute shit? Surprise us.
yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
you turn on the extended edition, and it's like doing like the come and see shot, but of Bilbo. And then it like goes into his memories, and like you hear one
Oh
of the dwarfs
fuck.
say, a dwarf does not ask how many orcs are there. He asks, where are the orcs?
Well, that's the question. Would you kill baby Smog?
I don't think Smaug did anything wrong. This is actually one of my takes we didn't get into. But here's the thing. If
Okay.
that gold was
Yeah.
allowed to freely circulate, the
Yeah.
Middle Earth economy would fucking collapse. Like the
Right. Right.
hyperinflation that would take over,
Right.
right? Smog knows what he's doing. He is keeping that in the reserves, right?
Yeah.
Limited amounts of it can get out when specific adventurers get some.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question. Was all of that gold just part of the Dwarven Kingdom, or did Smog bring some of that with him? Like that was like meters of gold just in the main hall. Like, I'm assuming the main hall was not filled with that. Like, so I was confused. Did they have all that gold and Smaug hoarded it into the main
Yeah.
room, or did he bring the gold with it? Like, what's the deal with all that gold? Sorry to be the Jerry Seinfeld esque. What's the deal with all the gold in Smaug's
No,
lair?
it's
I don't know.
it's questions we will have to answer later. Maybe we can get an economist
We
on
won't.
here eventually.
We won't. Let's not. Let's never answer these questions.
Let's
Let them
move.
die
Let's
with
keep
this
moving.
film trilogy.
This is
So-
like one of those days on your vacation where you're like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, the restaurant, we had a recommendation. It ended up being bad. You know, the boat trip got rained out.
Yep.
And maybe you got like jellyfish stings or something, so you're like
Yep.
peeing on your leg back
Our
in the
tour
hotel.
guide was murdered by a local cartel. Let's not let's not dig into what we are privy to and what we've what we have established in these communities. Let's just let's get crab legs.
Definitely.
Speaking of
All
crab
right.
legs, we've got a couple more episodes for this for this summer vacation before we watch the actual Chris Nolan Odyssey film. That we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
But
So we should see you next time.
Yeah.
With Spirited Away, featuring
we're locked
Slug.
in now. Just like
Yeah.
you made us watch, we were forced to watch these three films because the last episode we locked it in. So Spirited Away will be
we did agree on
what a
on an
cleanser,
order, but
what a palate cleanser this
unbelievable.
will
I
be.
can't imagine a movie that is more different, and we'll talk about it next time. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Check us out at Your Tall Pod on all the social media. I'm at Stale Cooper. He's at Mathesippi.
We have
And
a
as
YouTube
always-
channel as well. We have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, and what's the YouTube channel called?
Your Tall Pod?
Your Tall Pod, also on YouTube. Yeah, so Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube. Find us there. Find us on Spotify. Find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are given away. And tell your friends, tell your wives, tell your kids, tell your husbands, tell your enemies,
Absolutely.
whomever you
Especially
want.
your
Tell
enemies,
people on
especially your
vacation. That really helps
And-
get the word out.
And as always, keep circling.
That